my channel. We're going to be reviewing the new Wednesday Addams series, which is not new anymore, but like, I can't believe it took me so long to watch it. Thankfully, it was not that long. I love this series so much. I wanted it to be longer. It was so good. Oh my god, it reminded me of Harry Potter meets like Hocus Pocus, like meets everything. It just was like so good. Um, the fact that she went to this school and there was all these like people with abilities and stuff, and like I don't know, it just it felt so not Adam's family, but at the same time it was, and they just did it in such a beautiful way. So pardon me, I am getting over a cold. Um, so Wednesday like is very independent, what she normally is, but like very independent from her family, and that's something different that I haven't seen before. She's very close with her family and like everything else I've ever seen. Um, yeah, there's times when she rebels and everything, but she like is so against like being what her mother is. And even though like we know Morticia as like this exotic, unique, mistress of the night, like at the same time, like this show portrays her like as a mom, who like had to adjust, and in this series she um sort of adapts to like human roles, where like she cooks and she cleans, and she like is essentially like the wife to her husband, and does all the motherly stuff and everything, but is Morticia. So like she talks and like obviously like has certain characteristics that are very Morticia, and then also very characteristics certain characteristics that are very like just kind of everyday mom, and Wednesday is like so against that. And I found that so interesting, and I love Morticia, but I love that we focus so much on Wednesday, because like I feel like every time we get the chance to focus on Wednesday, like we must do so. And this series, like, there's been so many other like movies and everything where it's like she is such a great character, and we like love spending time with her. And I think like even like people who like are creating these movies like want to focus on Wednesday for certain amounts of times. But like to have a whole series about her, it just like yes, yes. And then like I love how in the series Wednesday is portrayed as Latina, and like she is just her own girl boss, and just being herself and not caring what other people think and everything, but at the same time she evolves and like grows and learns. I think that's something that we haven't seen of Wednesday, where she becomes open, in a different way towards people of her own kind, and she just kind of like still like wants to be on her own, until she's like losing everything. Um, so I loved this series. I loved it. So we start off. Wednesday sets a bunch of piranhas loose at a normie school. That's what they call them, normies, which is basically normal individuals. And it was because they were bullying Pugsley. And I kind of wanted to know like how they got to be like at a normal school, but then like with the background that we have, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Um, and so even though they're part of like creatures of the other world, people with different abilities and stuff. They call them like the outcast, many different things. And so they don't kill, unless they're like, really, really bad. That's like, no, don't do that. It's kind of like I don't know how to even compare it to, but there's other like things like where, even though they're these like vicious, people creatures with abilities and stuff, they're not really vicious. And so it's like basically with the Adams, it's always games, you know, and like well, at least it's what they see as games. And so the fact that like that became a big staple towards like basically it was like in the whole series, and then comparing that to the beginning where like the boy almost died was very interesting. So I don't know how far they go with that. Um, but she ends up basically being expelled, and I thought Pugsley was gonna go with her, but he stayed at the school. And what I didn't like was they made Pugsley so naive, and like he just like was very codependent. Um, sorry, very dependent, not codependent, very dependent on Wednesday, and like he just like wasn't the Pugsley that we know and love, you know? Like he was very much like Wednesday where he was just kind of like do your own thing, you know, and that's how he was. And now it's just kind of like he's like this softer version of himself, way softer. Where he is basically just like a little brother, you know? And it was interesting and it was nice, but it wasn't Pugsley to me. Thing was just amazing. I love Thing. When Uncle Fester came out, loved him. Oh my god, the guy who played him like did such a great job. And then I kept looking at what was his name? The guy who the kid that was in Gifted originally. I kept looking at him like you're from Gifted, you know, because like I was kind of bummed that the show ended. But it was like I kept looking at him and being like I can't picture you in this world right now. But like obviously, like you know, it's just like when you've looked at an actor as a certain part, and like it's hard to deter from that part. It's like that's kind of the experience I had. And so Enid was great. I loved Enid, so sweet, so like she stood her ground. She was like I don't care, you know, I'm gonna go at my own pace. She was very much like Wednesday, in that way, and like I think that's why they got along. And the fact that their friendship kind of grew so organically, where she like there was this one moment when she was like, I'm gonna go out, and he's like, and she's like, well, if he breaks your heart, I'll do this, and then, but it's like so like nonchalant the way she says it, but you can tell like she cares about her, and it just happens so like you know where at first it was just like no, you know, don't touch me. This is your side of the room, and now it's like little by little you saw how they just like kind of got to know each other and like meet each other. It was very nice that friendship. I think like just little by little things kept happening, and you eventually saw it blossom. Did not know that the villain was not gonna be the therapist lady. I was so certain that it was gonna be her. And then every time I'm so certain. Like I got spoiled on TikTok who like you know the Hyde was. But that's kind of pretty obvious. But like every time you know I'm like I got it. Like that's who it's gonna be. It never is, and I thought for sure this time, but nope. Um, and it makes me kind of sad that you know the original Wednesday actress is not gonna be like in the show anymore because did she die? I'm pretty sure she died by bees. And the fact that like Wednesday just made like, you know, all these friends just kind of by default, and then like at the end she's really testing, you know, her friendship with, you know, like what she's so fixated on, which is solving this case and figuring out who's, you know, killing, which is very like important, but like at the same time like testing her friendships. I didn't like the I didn't like what was it memes. I didn't like her at all. Like there was no second when I liked her. That was just me. I just was like, and when she died, I felt really nothing. I was just like, okay, like, and everyone, you know, else was just like, you know, she did this and she did that, but she was this, and I was just like, I don't like her. Weens, Weens, Weens. Um, I don't know why Wednesday didn't like originally like start looking into the supposed like murder that her father did like right away. Like that was kind of like just a one episode thing. I would have liked for us to like kind of get there like we did like the whole series with the whole case. Uh Tyler, I expected him to, have some humanity when he was not the Hive, but the fact that like he turned so much that he remembered it and like knew what the lady was doing because she would like take him to this cave and everything. Like, I guess that makes sense, but I was like, I kind of still wanted you to like Wednesday. That would have been cool. I saw this one thing on TikTok. One person commented, like, wouldn't it be cool like that he still like loved her or like liked her, and then like didn't want to kill her? Like that was kind of like a battle thing within him. Um, so I think that would have been cool. I just felt like him just being like just a switch was very strange to me because I'm like, we kind of fell for Tyler and I wanted there to be some sort of like humanity left in him. Um and the fact that like his mom was a Hyde, but then like they hadn't allowed Hydes like in the school for a long time. So then like they just let all outcasts in, but like how do they know that an outcast is like an outcast, don't they have to test that, but then they don't like ask them what they are, like I don't know. And apparently the dad knew nothing, the sheriff knew nothing about this. Wednesday just kind of like showing up at the diner and like being like, take me here, let's do this, even though like you were like, how did she get out of the school, like if the school's locked, like she still somehow managed to do it, and it was funny. And the fact that like these two boys were so enthralled by her that like one of them was like literally like make me forget about her was just, you really could see like, I guess, how I felt like the whole love triangle thing was much more light than um those particular scenes made it feel like those like made it seem like they were already in love with her, which I think maybe he was at that point, but yeah, I really liked, I loved just the visuals, the dancing, oh my god, I loved just the music, the people that they cast, everything was just so great, and I have really nothing bad to say about it. I just really enjoyed each episode. I flew through them, just wanting to know more and more and what was going to happen, even though I kind of already knew what was going to happen. Um, just getting there and then seeing Enid finally transform, and like that whole scene was like very, very interesting to watch because you're like, oh my goodness, and then you're also like, what is happening? It's just great. I really liked it. And yeah, that's all I have to say really. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all real soon. Bye.